My argument is not that belief in God is necessary in order to do good or live a moral life or be a decent chap. The argument has nothing to do about belief in God. The argument is that without God, there isn't any absolute standard of right and wrong, and therefore what we call moral values are just the spin-offs of sociobiological evolution. Altruism, like you mentioned self-sacrificial behavior, a mother rushing into a burning building.
No, specifically not a mother to save a child, because there's a perfectly good reason for a mother saving the child.
Well, but if you say that, see, then again, you're still misunderstanding my argument. What I was going to say is that on the sociobiological point of view, that kind of altruistic behavior is just the selfish gene wanting to perpetuate itself, and it's the same kind of behavior you see in a troop of baboons, where you see what looks like altruistic behavior, or even in an ant heap, where fighter ants will sacrifice themselves for the good of the heap. My point is that on the atheistic view, that's all moral values are.
Is that right? Let's clear that
up. And I would like to ask...
Is there any difference, Lewis? You come back in 1 second, but let me just ask Lewis whether there is any difference between the altruistic behavior of a human being, somebody who may sacrifice him or herself for a cause which will bring them no particular benefit, and a baboon.
Well, there are occasions where there are groups of animals where there's someone who will scream when danger comes, and therefore the thing. So these can be biologically determined, but also there's the whole complex of the nature of the sociology of the society and how different societies behave, and that's got nothing to do with God. That's complex sociology and biology.
Oh, so
and who imposed the complex biology? Where did that come from?
Well, evolution.
Right.
Yeah,
we're back to the old...
No, see, that's my argument. That is all that moral values are on atheism, and that therefore, as I say, rape, child abuse, these may be socially inconvenient, or taboo.
Sorry, as an atheist, I'm not a rapist.
You're misunderstanding my argument. Of course you're not.
Thank
you. You're misunderstanding the argument. I'm not arguing that to be a good person, you have to believe in God. What I'm arguing is that without God, there is no absolute moral values, no absolute moral duties. We are like advanced primates, and what we call moral values are just these ingrained sociobiological patterns.
Yes, that's exactly what they are.
Okay, so that is your view. I was not sure of that. Well, then you see, when you make these moral judgments yourself, you're acting inconsistently with your own worldview. When you make moral judgments like everyone has the right to believe whatever he wants so long as it doesn't interfere with others. Where does this notion of rights suddenly come from? That's just
history and sociology.
Right, just sociologically ingrained behavior. So the pedophile or the rapist or the psychopath or the person who wants to be a religiously intolerant persecutor is just acting out of fashion. He's like the person who belches at a meal.
Hitler wasn't acting out of fashion. He acted in his particular way, which other people objected to.
Right, but there wasn't anything morally wrong with what he did, right, on your view?
Of course there was.
It was just contrary to the patterns of sociobiological behavior that have been ingrained into the human species, not to kill each other off. Why was what he did objectively wrong?
Because it killed many people and made people extremely unhappy.
All right, but now that goes on all the time in the animal kingdom, right?
No.
Killing other animals.
No, that does not.
Well, when a lion kills a zebra...
Oh, when a lion kills a zebra.
Kills it to eat, doesn't it?
What about when you kill your turkey? Be careful with turkeys at the moment.
Yes. Well, fine, use that example. On atheism, these are all morally neutral acts because there isn't any standard of right and wrong.
Sure, there isn't.
Okay, so you agree with me.